Let's stay with that story and get an update at this hour on the weather conditions in the Western Cape and the impact on infrastructure. We're joined by Infrastructure MEC Tertuis Simmers. Good evening to you, MEC, and thank you for your time. So from a visual perspective, it all looks quite spectacular. It's a winter wonderland, and I've seen many pictures shared around the Swartberg Pass. But what is the reality of what people are living through in terms of the impact of the weather conditions, the disruptions and the likes?
Well, thank you and good evening to all of your viewers. No, indeed, as much as it's a spectacular winter wonderland to look at the snow-capped mountains, when it comes to the infrastructure lens, it's a total different story. We had to close down the Swartberg Pass for any form of vehicle usage on Sunday afternoon. The team or the technical team only allowed the reopening of the Swartberg Pass actually just under an hour ago. But again, with a very fair warning to the road users, noting that that is an alternative route which connects Oudtshoorn to the town of Prince Albert, and it's also utilized as an alternative route while the Meiringspoort is still closed. So the length of the vehicle limitation is still applicable to the Swartberg Pass as it stands. But the road conditions and the snow-capped mountains, once the snow reaches a certain level, it does have a massive impact on our roads, more so the secondary roads, which are alternative arteries at the moment. And sadly, due to the massive impact of its alternative usage, it does play a massive role. Once the snow reaches a certain thickness, then it becomes totally unsafe for any form of vehicle usage. The Swartberg Pass, obviously being designed many decades ago, which is a high risk, but it's also a heritage site, which means we are not allowed to do certain security upgrades to actually increase the safety on that road. But other passes also affected by the snow in the Little Karoo, more towards the Northern Cape, is also Maltino Pass, which still remains closed. It's still no form of vehicles are allowed to go through that. So those are two main arteries which connects the Karoo to the coastal corridor of the Western Cape, but also the Karoo to its Northern Cape cousins in the upper Karoo parts. As much as the temperatures are set to gradually increase, I believe, for the remainder of this week, the secondary risk then comes in at the damage will then be the water. And we have seen how much damage the water can do to our secondary road network.
Yeah. Mr. Talk to me a bit more about the Maltino Pass that you just mentioned. What's your reading of the situation that has led to the continued closure of that pass as opposed to what has happened with the Swartberg Pass, which you say has opened as of an hour ago, albeit with the precautions remaining in place? What's happening at Maltino?
Well, the problem with the Maltino Pass is in the May floods, fair sections of the Maltino Pass actually washed away. And on the Western Cape side of the border, we have started systematic attempts to improve it. Then we had the June rains, which actually eroded the bit of work our team managed to do. So that road has remained closed actually since June. The problem now with the snow, and once the temperatures rise and the snow will start melting, I think the teams need to go back and do a real serious assessment on the Western Cape side of the border, but also to engage our colleagues on the Northern Cape side of the border, because that entire corridor is closed to all forms of vehicles because it's just too dangerous, and the snow might just have, I think for both provinces, actually further increase the damage, also further increase the duration of how long that pass will be closed. Again, this is a key corridor because it links the community of Beaufort West with the community of Loxton in the Northern Cape. And they have been cut off from each other since the month of June, basically. And they will continue being cut off, sadly, at the moment.
Yeah, in fact, you take me to the next point, MEC, which is about the impact of all of these disruptions on lives and livelihoods. Because I imagine that, you take these decisions based on your assessment of the risk attendant to leaving these passes open. But nevertheless, this is a region that has dealt with a lot of weather-related and climate-related sort of difficulties, the droughts of recent years, but also now with these disruptions. What is the overall impact on lives and livelihoods?
No, indeed. I mean, if you look at the Swartberg Pass, with the Meyerspoort being the chief artery, which for the agricultural sector, more so our farmers who farm with, among others, ostriches and so forth, they are gearing towards their season. And again, now with the snow closing down the Swartberg Pass for all but just a bit over 48 hours, again, they are already so restricted in their movement. And the impact on the agricultural sector in the Little Karoo, stretching beyond Beaufort West into the borders of the Northern Cape, is immense. I mean, at the moment, we are doing the economic costing of the impact of the floods. Now, if I link this to the current impact of the snow, again, the Swartberg Pass is a secondary artery road. It still allows goods and services to commute between, the coastal corridor of the Garden Route to the Central Karoo and the Little Karoo areas, because some of these retailers and wholesalers also, extend to certain towns in the Northern Cape, such as Loxton. And again, the farmers in that part of the Northern Cape who utilize the Maltino Pass are also heavily impacted. So there's a massive impact, actually a far-reaching impact on the agricultural sector, but also, all these little small Karoo towns are also heavily reliant on tourism, and tourists go to areas such as the Swartberg Pass, the Loxton Pass, for the scenic views and all the surrounding tourism attractions on both routes.
So very briefly then, MEC, in about 30 seconds, what is the message to any motorist seeking to travel through any of these regions and routes that you and I have mentioned in the last few minutes?
Well, if you plan to come from the Northern Cape to the Western Cape to Beaufort West, you must go via the N12 through Victoria West. If you plan to utilize, again, the Swartberg Pass is open, but please add additional driving time to your schedule. Please keep safe distances, but above all, obey the rules of the road, and please, we have put up signs. Please abide by those signs. There for a specific reason, is to protect our road users so they can have a pleasant but safe journey. They can reach the final destination.
MEC, I've got to thank you for your time this evening. That's the MEC for Infrastructure in the Western Cape, MEC Tertuis Simmers, giving us an update on the various routes and passes that have been affected by the severe weather in the Western Cape.